To stand 10 toes down isn't just about strength, it's about conviction. It's knowing what you believe in and refuse to let the world push you off your foundation. Thank you for tuning into the Wats Good Family Podcast. Today, as the hook said, we're going to talk about standing 10 toes down. I got my little brother Dominic, and we're going to jump into this. All right, so I'm pretty sure everybody's aware of what's going on in the world, what's going on in Texas, what's going on in the United States. And I know a lot of us have our own, I don't want to say our own beliefs on what's transpiring. That got me thinking, man. Hate it or love it, what them Texas Democrats did, I applaud them. They stood on their convictions, they stood on their principles. So it got me thinking, how many of us are willing to stand on our convictions and principles as they did? How many of us are willing to not bend, not break, regardless of what's thrown at them? So let's dive into this. Brother Dominic, can you tell the audience a time where you've had to stand 10 toes down on something you firmly believe in?
You put me to hey, you put me on the spotlight. Jesus. Oh man. 10 toes down on a situation. I mean, life in general. I mean, you just 10 toes down on just like a job, my job, how we run things, and they might want to try to change something in a certain way. And I'm like, hey, nah, this is how it works, and that's been working for this long, so why change if it ain't messed up? What's the point of changing it? You know what I'm saying? I'm a firm believer in not changing up something unless it's something really that dynamic. And keep it like it is, man. That's probably the closest thing to respect that I can think of that I was 10 toes down. Anything else is kind of personal, but yeah, that's probably the most.
Nah, I mean, only share what you're comfortable sharing. I mean, for me, raising my kids, there's boundaries that I've set. There's things that I look for them to achieve, and regardless of what, I stand firm on what I tell them. This is in this day and age where principles and convictions sway like the wind. I feel like I want to show my kids something that's concrete, solidified. I mean, even doing this podcast, it's something that I have to stay dedicated at. I don't want to say dedicated, but I have to stay pushing myself to keep getting better. That's one of my convictions, to always get better. Even when it feels like I'm not taking steps forward, I have to keep pushing because I have an end goal in mind. So my determination is one of my convictions. It's one of the things that I use to propel myself, even when I don't feel like going forward. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like, I was in church today, and the word was, it was a good word. Got a good word today. But they were talking about, your calling and how sometimes, how come we don't see ourselves how God sees us? And if we could see ourselves the way God sees us, the things we could accomplish. I'm a firm believer. I believe one of my callings is what I'm doing right now. This podcast to bring, I don't want to say uncomfortable conversations, but to bring conversations to the forefront for us to talk about things that people will overlook. And it just so happened with everything going on in Texas, where I was like, man, let's talk about this. Let's dive into it. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I'm trying to get the words together. But just the type of determination and convictions in your principles that you have to willingly leave your family, to willingly suffer consequences. You get what I'm saying? Like, it gets me thinking about back to my grandma. My grandma grew up in the Jim Crow, segregation era.
Mm-hmm.
They, looking at their convictions for justice, that all men are created equal. The convictions that they had to stand up and fight against the oppressor and do it non-violently, you know what I'm saying? That took a lot of conviction to do that. And it got me wondering, like, do we still have that same conviction today? To where even when things are going bad, we're gonna hold firm to our beliefs.
Nah, I don't think it's. Nah, I don't think so. What our people back in the day, what they what they believed in, they truly believed in. And nowadays, I think we get persuaded with the times, with the movement, what's bringing, what society is talking about now. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's where the shift is. Like back in the day, you didn't have the social media stuff, so of course you kind of like your beliefs was what your parents taught you, what they're believing, what you learned, all that stuff. That's what you knew. Now it's like you can tell, you can say, you can hey, like man, I believe in one man, whatever. I believe this and this, and then you see maybe your friends or you see like everybody's going to this trend. So now you like, in order for you to fit in, you got to pivot that way rather than, hey, I know what y'all doing, but I'm still gonna stay this way. I get that everybody doing this, the new trend, people wearing this, people doing this, that, but hey, I'm gonna still do this because it's me. It's generally who I am as a person, rather than I'm trying to just follow. I don't expect people to follow me, but hey,
Mm-hmm.
this is who I am in my truth. Yeah, I see it. I can participate. I can do it in my own way. I see what the new trend is. That's cool that y'all do it that way. But because of what I was brought up on, I can't do that. Because if I go to do that, that's not who I am. I'm just being like everybody else, just following the leader, following whatever it is. So I can feel like I'm being accepted into
Mm-hmm.
this world rather than I'm this is who I am, accept me how I am, or move around.
Yeah. So you're saying most people, if I'm hearing you correctly, you're saying a lot of people will give up on, or not necessarily give up, but they'll do what it takes to fit in. They won't stick to their guns. They won't stick to things that they've grown up on believing. They'll change with the times
Of
as the
course,
times change.
and that leads to us with the topic, like you say, 10 toes down. You will say you 10 toes down with something. You will say you raised in this type of way. You believe this. You will not do that. But then when that moment comes and you're tested, let's see if you really that way. And then, like I say, the times it will change you. The people you associated with, the moment, the environment it is that you in. So many different factors can go to that. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're 10 toes down, you still gonna come down. It's gonna come down to who you are as a person. And if you love yourself enough to never be that or never go that way, then you're 10 toes down because man, you know what you want. You know what you want in life. You know how you want your life to play. And sometimes people might be attracted. Sometimes you might lose some people in the way. Because the way you 10 toes down might not be the way and you just like, hey, you more of a problem to me than it is. I hate to lose you, but I'm gonna lose myself if I don't be 10 toes down on how I live because I'm trying to do that, and I did that in my life. At one point in time, I was like that. I was always a person that believed in something, and I think I went to my friends and I started trying to hang out with them. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I think my grandma and great grandma raised me to the man. She cheat on your woman. You don't do all those things.
Yeah.
But then, when you get older, I got older, you looking at me, man, all your friends like, man, you just dating one girl, this and this. And I
Mm-hmm.
let that get to me. I wasn't 10 toes down on what I believe in. I believe in being with one person all the time. I did that in my high school year. I was with one person all high school. I didn't cheat on her. You know what I'm saying? So that was my beliefs. But then when you get around, I got around like the wrong people. I start trying to fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And now the only way I can fit in was, oh man, D-Buzz, we heard that D-Buzz, yeah, he got a girl, with blase, and now I'm part of the problem. The problem is, hey, you got too many people know about you. Rather than the fact that I done lost myself trying to fit in with someone else or trying to fit in somebody else's narrative when my narrative was, hey, stick 10 toes down. You was raised to hey one woman, no matter what level. That's how you was raised. But of course, I was high school, so we was in high school, so we all young. We had a young past. It was just that's example where it was 10 toes, but I lost where I wasn't 10 toes down in my belief and what I was believing because I knew to never outside of just who I was dating. And then once I start trying to fit in with the crowd, I lost myself, and now I'm just talking to multiple people.
Yeah.
Doing
Trying to.
stuff that just wasn't me. It just wasn't me. I didn't do it right. It just wasn't.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean, I think that that story resonates. That's similar to my story. I mean, I for the longest time I didn't know who I was and what I was. You know, not saying not in the aspect of male, female. I'm talking about, who am I? What am I? You know, am I a good man? Am I a bad man? Am I gonna go left? Am I gonna go right? Like I didn't know exactly what I stood for. That brought me to the military. And I went to the military to try to find my purpose, who I am. What are my convictions? What are the things that I believe in? I grew up in the church and that never left me. That was always incorporated into me. Even in growing up in the church, I didn't find my identity. I didn't find who I was or what I was. So I went to the military looking for that. Couldn't find it in the military, got back in the civilian world and still couldn't find it. It took a series of unfortunate events to happen, and I was down and out. And I remember my grandpa told me, never let your inabilities to control your actions dictate the outcome of your situation. And I didn't understand it for a little while. And then it hit me. My grandpa's telling me to always be in control, never lose control of yourself. But how can I control myself if I don't know who I am? You feel what I'm saying? So I started looking at myself. I started trying to look at myself on the outside looking in. And I started finding things that I didn't like about myself. So I didn't like the fact that I did what it took to fit in. Like that got me in trouble so many times. So I started to isolate myself.
Yeah.
But in isolating myself, I started realizing this is not a healthy way to be. You got to talk to people. You got to still mingle with the outside world. So then my dad told me and my grandmas told me, you want to yoke yourself around people who are similar to you. I came back to a lot of the old teachings that I learned from my people. You don't want to be the dumbest person in the room and you don't want to be the smartest person in the room. You don't want if you're trying to go lose weight, you're not going to hang out with a glutton, but you don't want to, you're going to surround yourself with a bunch of people who want to lose weight. Hey, look, I can't run this. You don't want to go with the dude who can run 3 miles at 3 miles a day because that's too much for you. So you want to find somebody who's at your level or a little bit above your level to try to help you get there. You feel what I'm saying? So in surrounding myself with people, I started learning a little bit about myself. And I started learning some of the things that I won't stand for and some of the things that I will stand for. And especially in raising these kids, it's like, okay, this world is going to pull them in many different directions. This world is going to confuse them. This world is going to try to tell them who they are. But me as their father, I have to be that rock solid foundation. So I started looking to my kids. If I didn't want my kids to do it, why am I going to do it? So having integrity, doing the right thing when nobody's looking. That's one of the military values. That's one of the things I started incorporating into my kids. Hey, do the right thing even when I'm not around. Because there's going to be a time where you're going to be out on this world on your own and you're going to have to figure it out. But doing the right thing can't be one of those things where you're like, well, is this right? Even when my kids get in trouble, I ask them, what you did, was it right or was it wrong? If they can acknowledge that it was wrong, why was it wrong? Do you acknowledge where you went wrong? You get what I'm saying? So a lot of times we'll be told that we're wrong or we're not doing something right, but it may be, okay, well, this is how I've always done it. How is it not right now? You get what I'm saying? I'll break it down for you. You've been married, so I'm pretty sure there's something. For me, it was folding towels. We'll just use the folding towels. My mom taught me how to fold towels. And getting married, my wife's like, why do you fold towels that way? That's not the right way to fold towels. I'm like, well, this is how my mom showed me how to fold towels. This, this is the right way to be.
Yeah.
And she was like, nah, you got to fold towels like this. And I was all like, well, I mean, at the end of the day, the towel gets folded. What does it matter which way you fold it? But
He said, hey, I plead the feel, buddy.
but you know what I'm saying? But it was the right way to me, and it was the wrong way to my wife. But I had to compromise, and that's where I learned, okay, I'll fold towels her way. It ain't no big deal.
You compromise with the towel?
Hey, bro, marriage is about compromising. We'll compromise on towel folding. I compromised on towel folding. But I mean that's one of I learned that's another one of my principles. I'm willing to compromise and find middle ground. That's a conviction of mine. Not enough people are willing to meet in the middle to solve a dispute. It's always all or nothing. And I mean, I've learned you can't live life like that. You got to be willing to come. But again, some people, nah, man, I'm not doing that. Nah, bro. What's the problem with it?
I have learned, even through my new relationship and with different people, my new relationship, everything, is pride can hurt you. Having that pride and not, like you said, not willing to compromise. I have to learn when it's good to just sometimes follow your pride. Sometimes just be like, hey man, okay, you do it this way, I did it this way. Okay, let's see how we can, like you say, come to the middle and come to some agreement. Because if you don't, you're gonna be a clash of the Titans every time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can understand. Yeah, I'm leaving it at that. I'm leaving it at that, man. It's whew, man. I guess you live in it, you talk about it. It's easier said than done.
Oh yeah.
You're in the moment and you have to compromise. Sometimes, like you say, you gotta be 10 toes down on certain situations.
Oh yes. Certain situations there is no compromising. There is no middle ground.
Oh, what they say nowadays, non-negotiables. That's my room talk. It's non-negotiables.
But then, I mean, that's why I said you got to stand 10 toes down on your boundaries. You set the boundaries. Hey, this is the line you don't cross. Everything else we could talk about, but I won't cross this line. And for me, and I can only speak about myself. For me, for the longest time, not the longest time, but for a little while there, I pushed boundaries, and I would push them. I would step over the line and think there wasn't no consequences, but that's because I didn't within myself, I didn't have self-control, which is another thing I had to learn. And now I value it so much to where I'm always in control of myself. I'm always thinking for myself. I play chess, and I tell my kid, I started teaching my kids to play chess. And I started teaching them this so that way they could learn to try to strategize and try to stay ahead of the curve. Hey, think about it. If now, granted, life is not a chessboard. Life is not a chessboard, and people are not chess pieces. They don't move in a specific type of way. But if you pay attention enough, you'll learn how people move, and then you can decide your moves off of that. So it's like, okay, we'll go back to folding towels. It's a simple reference. Don't feel no type of way. It's a good reference. I mean, who's really gonna get into an argument over folding towels? I keep using that reference.
You'll be surprised when people get in arguments over. Okay, that's all I'm saying. You'll be surprised.
But shoot, I lost my train of thought. Okay, chess pieces, folded towels.
He's traumatized over folded towels. I'm telling you. Towels, he just put it in. Hey, he just put it in the thing. Y'all just grab a towel. They ain't folding no more towels. All y'all gonna do is unfold them anyway. Fold the towels up, whatever.
Man,
Hamlet, whatever. Do what y'all do.
like I was saying, okay. Like, people are not chess pieces, and life ain't a chessboard. But if you pay attention to a person long enough, you'll know how they move. So if you see a situation, okay, some people's pet peeve may be, we'll get off the towels. You leave the toilet when we as males we pee, we leave the toilet seat up sometimes. Now, you got two choices. You either gonna walk out that restroom and you're going to put the toilet seat down, or you're gonna leave it up. So if you know that your significant other is going to get upset about you leaving the toilet seat up, you gonna put that bad boy down just to prevent an argument, right?
Okay, I'm gonna answer that question. I'm gonna put it down because that's the right thing to do. That's just who I am. I always been toilet seat up, toilet seat down. Only because I live with women.
Yeah.
You know, and I live with women before. So I know that in my bathroom, luckily my house have 2 bathrooms. So hey, my bathroom, I know. But I have lived with women, and I know I've learned that it was I guess like a respectable thing, or that hey, put the toilet seat down. You know, put the toilet seat down, because the woman, you don't want to come in and have to put the toilet seat down because they get mad. I don't see it. I ain't seen it personally because, like I said, I bring it down, but I done heard where we get mad about the toilet seat. And I'm just like, at first, I was young, me would have been like, bro, you coming in anyway, just push the seat down. It'll still the same difference. At least you know I pulled it up. But I think I pull everything down. Toilet seat in, toilet seat cover.
Yeah.
That's just me. Now, of course, in public restrooms, of course, that's different. But toilet seat in, toilet seat cover, you put that down, you know, for obvious various reasons. But yeah, some people do, unless it's something being pettily done. Some people leave it up and that, like that's.
But what I'm getting at is, okay, you kind of hit it right there on the head. That is a conviction of yours. That's a principle. That's something you live by. You know, if for you it falls up under the respect category. But one of your principles is to be respectful. I'm going to put the toilet seat down. Some people, like, granted, I grew up with my mom. My mom and dad were never married, so I grew up in 2 different households. But at my mom's and my dad's, I had my own restroom. You know what I'm saying? So me and my brother shared a restroom. So the conversation of leaving the toilet seat up was never really a big conversation because my mom had her own bathroom to go to. Now, i.e., fast forward, I get married, boom, you know, hey, you left the toilet seat up. My bad. I didn't mean to. Well, I mean, I didn't really see it as an issue. But as I learned through being married, okay, hey, you know what? Let me put this toilet seat down. I have daughters. I have a wife. I don't want to, you know, as you said, I don't want to be disrespectful. And I don't want to ignite something over something so small as putting the toilet seat down. So I learned to put the toilet seat down. Where you grew up with women, so you already naturally had that engraved in you.
Yeah, it was like, it's a big thing. Like I say, it's a big thing that, you know, especially people around. Like I say, it depends. Like some women probably wouldn't even say much, but deep down they feel some type of way about it. But then some people don't. You know, it's instilled in us as men. It's supposed to be instilled in us as men. Like, hey, put the toilet seat up, and then when you're done with your business, bring it down, flush it. Go about your business.
You'd be surprised. There are some people out there who men, they'll pee sitting down just so they don't because before you get to judging.
The reason why I did that because my trainer, my guy who trained, you know, I trained since I was young. His introduction to me, to people, to me, is, oh yeah, that's my son, Dominic. I taught him how to pee. He used to sit down and pee. Now he stand up and pee. So that's why I did that. because he introduced people. And I ain't, man, don't be telling people. He used to sit down and feed. I'm like, bro, don't tell nobody.
bro.
You know what I'm saying? That's just
But there's
crazy.
some dudes because okay,
People
there
really, hey, Mr.
there
Dudes really sit down and pee, like, forever?
there's some dudes who will sit down and pee because they're significant. Their women say, hey, when you pee, which it is true, when you pee, even though you can't see it, you splatter piss on the walls.
That's why I
To
use
keep
paper towel and always like
no. It's the splatters you can't see that get on the wall and all
wall.
that.
The spiders on the wall.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you got to think about it. When you pee in the toilet, it's
Mhm.
splashing back.
It's splashing back to the wall. You know how
You're missing the point. You're
deep
getting
my
me off
toilet
topic.
is,
You're
be
getting me
splashing
off
to the
topic.
wall.
I'm telling you what was told to me. I'm relaying it. So
No, they just wanted to argue. Ain't no way you going down there and that water is splashing to the walls, bro. Think about your toilet, bro. The toilet
basically,
water is
they
right there.
sit down to pee to keep from the splatter happening. There you go. There you go. That's the whole point. That's what I'm getting at. There you go.
I'm gonna wait till we get off air. I'm gonna wait till I'm drunk.
Different strokes for different folks.
If God, go here.
Look, I don't judge them. However they pee is how they pee. I'm not tripping, but I'm saying different strokes for different folks.
Okay, go ahead. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to talk about it. And I'm gonna get mad. That's my trauma. So you mean to tell me I use the restroom and I, you know what? I ain't gonna say nothing, buddy. Oh man, keep going.
Hey,
Come on, girl. Let's go, man.
different strokes, bro. Different strokes. You can't judge nobody. Hey, if that's how they, and I respect them. I mean, that's what their woman required, asked of them, and that's how they do it. I mean, it's
I'm
not.
standing 10 toes down. I ain't sitting down to use the restroom unless need be.
That
Unless,
is your conviction, sir. That is your principle. You have
what's
every
the
right.
what's the concept? 10 toes down. I'm 10
Yeah,
toes down.
you okay? I totally respect that. But what I'm saying is, people will compromise for issues or to prevent issues. You feel what I'm saying? Like, uh,
I'm,
but yeah,
that was,
I'm not, bro. I'm laughing. I'm not laughing at you. I'm
I'm just
just the facial expression you're making. Like, wow.
because I didn't know. Well, to my defense, I don't be out like I don't have conversations like this with you know. So I don't know. I only been there once. Dating somebody.
Bro, you never know. I
Yeah, I
mean,
never know. I never
you
knew. I'm
never
never gonna
know.
ask the questions. Oh, you never know I'm gonna ask the question. I'm gonna be like, do you think like you use restroom and it goes down to the water? It the toilet sits up high, the water down here, but the water going some way somehow get popped up above the seat.
Just
The math ain't mathing, Jerome.
yeah.
I would love to have a debate with that said person, whatever said woman that believes that a man needs to sit down, or the man sits down
Mm-hmm.
because the woman said that the water hits the wall.
I I I I'm just telling you different strokes for different folks, which I don't judge. I respect it. Hey, whatever, however you decide to do it for your household, that's going to work for you. It's no problem. It shouldn't be a problem. We should be expanding our horizons. I'm not encouraging. Now, I don't want nobody to think that I'm encouraging men to sit down and pee because I am not doing that. No, I am not doing that.
This.
Sir, all I'm saying is different strokes for different folks. That's all I'm saying. That is it.
Keep going.
I mean, what's good for one person may not be good for the next person. But we have to operate in the common senses of good. What the universal good is. And whatever the universal good for your house may not be the universal good for my house.
I
I feel like you're stuck on this. Don't be stuck on it. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. It's all good. Hey, bro, let it go. It's all right. It's all right. I firm. Hey, like I said, hey, bro, however you do it is however you do it. It's fine. But what I'm saying is, a lot of things that we think we have to stand 10 toes down on may not be something we need to stand 10 toes down on. Unless it's going to violate, unless it's going to go against the boundaries that you set, your personal convictions or your core beliefs. You know, you don't have to stand 10 toes down on everything. Some things are just about conversation and compromise. But I feel a lot of us don't want to do that. You know, I've surfed I've surfed through TikTok and I've been on a couple of lives or in some lives where men feel a certain type of way on how what a woman should do, and where women feel a certain type of way what men should do. And it's like, but where's the compromise in that? Where's the conversation in that?
When you say what women and men should do, like as far as like relationship or just in general?
Just relationship in general. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I feel one of the things that, is big that I'm pushing in my marriage, and one of the biggest things that a new core conviction of mine is mental health. I'm advocating mental health as much as possible because I'm speaking to a counselor and I a therapist, and I take medication. So I now understand the importance of mental health, you know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. Like, and being totally candid with you, heck, I get nervous doing the podcast whenever I do the episodes.
Why's that?
Well, because honestly, I'm afraid I'm gonna say something stupid. I'm afraid of how I may look to certain people. I'm afraid if it's going to be received well. Am I going to get views? Are people going to relate to what I'm saying? Are they going to hate what I'm saying? That's one of the things that's always scared me in doing this. But I push past it whenever I cut this app on and I start recording, because at the end of the day, it's something I want to do. And regardless of how I may look to other people, I'm committed to doing this because I'm hoping something I say helps somebody. I hope I make somebody laugh. I'm hoping, I make somebody realize they're not alone and that there are other people out there who are just like them. Like I said, man, I finally did my TikTok introduction. Took me forever to do it. I realized I hadn't done it. And like I said in my TikTok introduction, man, I'm not looking to get famous. I'm not looking to become a household name. I'm just looking to conversate with people, but I also hope that I can help somebody. You know, I'll say this: I'm a firm believer in giving flowers and roses when they're due. I'm grateful to you. I'm grateful to AJ, because I mean, it takes a lot to come on here and sacrifice a couple, however long we record to actually commit to doing something that's not really producing any lucrative results. You know what I'm saying? So I really appreciate y'all for that. And heck, y'all make it, y'all, when I'm doing it with y'all, it's less I'm not so afraid as much.
I kind of make it easy. I'm the one that kind of probably say, I mean, think about me. I mean, I always want to, if I were to push something, it would be where I would teach, especially men, I would teach them about the experience that I had in my previous marriage. I would teach them about where I don't want, I would love to fight the cycle of divorce rates and fight the cycle of parents being, homes being broken and fathers being, vilified. And, I hate. That's what I have learned from my previous relationship, and I'm just like, I want to be passionate about that. I think I don't have that. It's like having that drive to do it because I
Yeah.
know, I know what I went through, but then there's probably a lot of other men that going through it, whatever. They just solid, And I think I talked to my dad a lot. He look out. He ever since these things that had happened, he reached out to me. I talked to him. I talked to a lot of people, and I think the one thing that kills me now is like my loyalty to people. Like even through what I went through, I'm still loyal to the people that turned their back on me.
Yeah.
And I think I think that goes down with 10 toes down, that even through it all where people have just whatever, I'm just that loyal type of guy where I'm just believing being that guy that you can trust me. You can stand on business with me. I'm cool. I'm gonna be there for you. I never had. That's not reciprocated all the time, But I don't. It don't bother me. I just handle my business as a man, and I keep it moving. But I think being able to express that, and try to help, you want people to listen to this podcast, and try to, like you say, make somebody laugh, and they might just needed something just to get them through their day or whatever. I'm the same way. I do this. I look forward to the podcast. And because I told you many times, me and my partner supposed to be doing the podcast. We do stuff on our little board meetings and we talk about crazy stuff. But I know that deep down, we get on a podcast, we getting counseled. We ain't gonna make it up. They gonna like, hey man, y'all crazy. But to be able to have someone who got a platform, and me, I've never been good with speaking. People, you know me, you wouldn't believe if I told you I'm a shy person. I'm very shy. I don't like, but once I get to talking,
bro, I think that's why we click. I think that's why we click, because I'm shy too. Unless you're in my inner circle, I really don't.
You just said you toxic.
No, I said I'm shy too. I didn't say nothing about toxic.
I said you're toxic. Okay. I get you. See how comfortable you are to tell me you're toxic?
No, I'm not. No.
I see, that's true.
I said shy,
I
bro.
would never tell my sister. I would tell them that. You know what I'm saying? Say look, you say you okay.
But nah, I'm shy too, bro. Like I said, unless you're in my inner circle, I don't really conversate with a lot of people. But I like talking to people. Like back when I used to smoke cigarettes, some of the best conversations I had was when I would go, I would light up a cigarette and somebody would come, hey man, you got a lighter? Oh yeah, bro. Hey man, yeah, bro, you'd be surprised how many conversations have started up with hey man, you got a lighter? Bro, I'm telling you, so many people. I've had random conversations, and one of the conversations that stuck with me the most, I was in the plant in Louisiana, and this old head, I was like, hey man, you got a lighter? He's like, yeah man, here you go. He's like, man, how you doing today? I was like, oh man, I'm doing good, man. It's hot as hell. Da 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 da. And he was all like, and we just got off in the talk. He's like, man, how long you been doing this? I was like, oh man, I've been doing this for a little while. Da 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 da. And he was just like, oh man, make sure you have an exit plan. I'm like, what you mean make sure I got an exit plan? What do you know that I don't know? And like, bro, he just got off into talking about how he's been in the refinery so long and how he's traveled so much to take care of his family. And in doing the traveling and taking care of his family got to the point where they were able to live without him. He just became a steady flow of income. And he was saying, he was telling me how he lost his family. He missed out on milestones. He even missed his kid's graduation, to work. And he was saying how he lost his family due to the job and providing. He was so focused on providing, he didn't know, he didn't remember that he needed to still be present. And it's like, so he was telling me like, make sure you got an exit plan. You don't, your family's only going to wait for you so long. There's only so many things you can miss before it's like, okay, well, my dad works. He's not here. And so that got me thinking, like, it struck a chord with me. It was like, man, like, can that happen? Does that, like, I thought, I was blown away because me personally, I had never thought about that. I had never thought that I would lose my family in taking care of my family.
I think that's what made me want to become, and doing the steps to become a better father was the fact that I was so driven in being a provider that, I ain't gonna say I miss a lot of things, but I'm very fortunate to have the job that I have, that I'm able to come home every night. I'm able to see my kids. But yeah, that is true. When you provide and provide and provide, and sometimes just like your job where you gone most of the time. Because you remember I used to tell you, I tell the other guy that live in the neighborhood, I'm like, man, I don't know how y'all do it where y'all away from y'all family. Can't be away from my kids for so long, and y'all do it, but you're doing it because you're providing. And my biggest fear, even during that, that 6 month that me and where I had told you about the situation,
Yeah.
I was more nervous that my kids would forget about me.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids at that time was young. And, they were what, 6 and 4 at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and I'm just like, man, I thought that my kids would forget about me. And it wasn't, like I say, it wasn't work related for them, but it was the fact that being away from them for so long. When he said that and you said it, and it just struck a chord, I'm like, man, yeah. You provide your mindset is trying, because I think my trainer said it. He got kids. And he's like, man, no, I wasn't there for my family. He kind of said, hey, either I'm gonna be there and daddy not working and you don't have all the things that you have,
Yep.
or I'm gonna not be there. I'm gonna be working majority, be working whatever, but you ain't gonna want nothing. You know what I'm saying? You gonna have everything. You gonna be able to go there. I might not be there. I might not be at every whatever, but the ones I can make, I'm gonna make it. But if I can't make it, due to work, whatever, you know what I'm saying? And he like I said, he's so much like down there where it's like he 10 toes down on a lot of his man standpoint. So I get a lot of a lot of his mindset. He just like he got ways, and he just be like, man, it kind of makes sense, and I just apply to my life, and it just like. Yeah, man, you might not be able. And I saw it for myself. And I was only in my 20s when I was providing. You know what I'm saying? And I was young. I'm 31, and I'm just like, dang, man, you got a point where you find yourself tied up in providing, and then you lose yourself, or you lose your family, or you kind of lose that inability to be able to mess with your family, and that's why even now. I'm like 10 toes down with the kids. It's like I have to see them. It's not a moment to go by. I'm like, okay, my day, I'm gonna get them. Hey, y'all come to me. We gonna do whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying my best to make sure I don't be that parent where you forget. I don't want
Yeah.
I don't want you to forget about me. You know what I'm saying? I can't. I'm not there all the time. And rest assured, I have my ways of being there. But whenever you do, when they get older, they gonna know to call me. Hey, you need something, call me.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, yeah, that's from cool. I ain't gonna lie to you. That man, what he said to you is true. You provide so much, and you forget the little things. The little things that matter, and you so in the way the world is now. What else can a man do? Everybody's going through stress. The world is not easy to deal with, to navigate, and I'm doing my best. I make sure that my kids don't ever have to worry about nothing and be able to live comfortably. Because when they get out here, especially like in my kids' case, man, if you don't know what you're doing in life, man, it will eat you up.
Yeah.
And it will eat you up, man. So
Nah, bro. I get it. But believe me, I get it. That's why, like, for me, I'm grateful for the people I've been working around and the boss that I have where I'm at, because he's a very big advocate for family. If I say, hey, I gotta do this, I got this coming up, all right, man, no problem. I'll make sure you're home by then. For my kids going to the Junior Olympics, I was there for that. Um, my my daughter has college campus visits coming up. I'm gonna be there for her first one. I'm working on finding the balance. I haven't found it just yet, but I'm working on finding the balance. But one of the things I'm also doing is, I video chat with them as much as possible. I talk to them as much as possible, but I know it doesn't replace me being there. And I've been looking for ways to solve that problem. But bro, one of the biggest things, and one of my, again, another core principle is my family. I'm always gonna be there for my family, regardless of where I'm at, regardless of what I'm doing. I have to be there for them, because I don't ever want them to view me as just a paycheck. And that's one of my biggest fears. That like I'm being honest. One of my biggest things that I've always been afraid of is that in doing what I'm doing, that's how they'll view me. Oh, my dad's just a paycheck. My dad wasn't there for this. But he's working though. He's gonna make sure I got money. But you get what I'm saying? Like I missed their first day of school, and bro, that killed me. You know, one of my kids, it's their first last day of school. You know, I'm not gonna get that
So they
back.
go in the high school. They're senior. You got one senior? You got
I
one
got
senior.
one senior and two juniors. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, trying to find that balance is difficult. But I'm determined to find it.
As you should, man. I think you just, with the right support system, you always gonna find it. You'll find it. You'll be able to. I mean, we all, like I said, we all trying to find a balance. Especially me, my transition. You know about transitioning now, so definitely trying to find balance in the midst of it. Like I say, they know you. You've been there since day one. You haven't been absent. I mean, like I said, I don't know how you do it. Being away that long and work, and I mean, I commend your wife too, because
Oh
it
yeah.
takes a strong woman to be able to hold it down while you know what I'm saying? Because it takes a strong woman to do that.
It's not easy, bro. I'll say this now. I give my wife props because it's not easy
Mm-hmm.
being tugged in so many different directions, and she's going to school on top of it all. You know what I'm saying? Like I commit, yeah, bro. She's going to school, yeah, bro. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm so grateful, you know, and that's one of the things, and I'll say it here. I'm grateful for my wife because without her, it's like that conversation we had. Without her, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing to provide. You know, it's because of her I'm able to do what I'm doing. And it takes a lot of strain on her. Like, I'll just give you a rundown of the summer. This
Okay.
summer, just the summer by itself, she had my 4 plus my brother's 3. And she, bro, and hold up, and going to school and looking after my mother-in-law and making sure they ate, making sure they got to appointments. You know, like, bro, you know, a real life superhero in my book. Like she
Like some women just, I think I have learned. Some women just they know how to do this. They kind of. Yeah, I don't experienced it. Got a woman.
oh yeah. And
Someone,
bro,
someone, some people can't judge. Some people run away from problems. Some people don't know how to juggle it. Without saying so much, bro,
bro,
you see
I'm
somebody
grateful.
know how to handle their business. They juggle with so much stuff, and they still able to go day to day. And you just wanna. That's how I am now. I see what I see. I pour in. I done did my all into where it's something about a woman. Yeah, it's something about, I'm leaving it there. It's something
Nah, bro,
about a
I
woman
totally
trying to
get
handle
it.
business, bro. Yeah, man.
I totally get
It's
it.
a
You know
different
what I'm
story,
saying?
bro.
It's
It's a
not
different
easy,
story.
but bro, I applaud her for what she's able to do. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? And
yeah.
that's why whenever she says, "Hey, I need you home," it's no questions asked. That means she needs to tag in.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what you want to do. I was like that. I'm always like that. I'm an advocate, man. Sometimes these women they need breaks. And I get it. Y'all do a lot. We all do a lot. Yeah, I'm an advocate. Sometimes you just gotta be there for them. Not even just there physically, but mentally.
Bro,
Mentally, they do
mentally,
a lot.
emotionally,
Yeah.
physically. Like I'll say this, and you know, I know I'm kind of airing out myself, but I I'm not there yet. But when I first got married, and I kind of still am, emotionally immature. You know, and that's something I've had to learn. I learn about myself. You know, again, another principle: learn. You know, never stop learning.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the things that I hold dear to I firmly believe in is never to stop learning because, bro, emotional maturity is a lot. Learning how to know your emotions and also be aware of your partner's emotions, bro, that it takes a lot of growth to be able to realize that. Now I don't ignore the obvious signs. Like I can tell when she's overwhelmed, and I'm like, okay, hey, you know what? Take a deep breath, go into the room. I got it. I'll take care of it. You know, but there's still some growing left to do for me because I'm not all the way there yet.
I know there's some growing left to me. I ask God for forgiveness every day. When I didn't like we said in our first episode a while back about immaturity. I knew, what I'm saying, looking back at it now to where I am now, right person, wrong time. It was so I was that immaturity, like you say, social immaturity. Like now, till I pay attention now, I actually do stuff to help alleviate, to try to because to see this one where everything is all on her, I'm just like, nah. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, nah, okay, well, hey, nah, let me just okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna help out with this. And that's been my drive now. My drive that I've learned from what I didn't do is now, if it's the little stuff that could have just helped something, man, let me just take this off your plate.
I'm gonna counter that. I'm gonna counter what you said.
Counter?
It's not so much. I'm gonna counter it. It's not so much right person, wrong time. It was the right person, right time for where you were at the time.
I get that counter. I don't want to give it to you, but I give it to you.
And the reason I say that is because you had to go through what you went through to get to where you're at. And that experience helped you become a better person. Now, granted, this ain't a fairy tale. It doesn't always end with the princess and the prince living happily ever after. Sometimes the princess and the prince got to go their separate ways. But what you take from that relationship and what you take from that experience is if it makes you better, it was never the wrong time. It was the right time. And you learned what you had to learn at the time. So everything you discovered about yourself and that she helped you discover about yourself, you got to be grateful for what she did, for the part she did play in your life, because it's made you into a better man. You feel what I'm saying?
That's true.
But I'm going to end it on that note, and I'm going to give you the last word, big bro.
Last word, man. Is, like you say, when talking about 10 toes down, man, never deviate from your core values. Don't just stay afraid. Stay 10 toes down on life. It might right now. Stay prayed up and just don't change for nothing. Just stay of course, because that's who you are as a person. Who you are, that's it. You don't want to change for nobody, man. You do it for yourself. Just stay 10 toes down in life, man, for you.
Facts. Well, with that, man, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, if you're new to this, go on and hit that like, follow, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're true to this, leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. And we'll talk to y'all again the next time. Peace.
Peace. I like that you do this.